Starting tomorrow, October the 3rd, there is a new mission marathon, just like we used to have. Now, this mission marathon consists of 10 different stages, each getting harder or more grindy as you go up. And at the end of it, you are then gifted a Tier 8 premium Polish tank destroyer, the Grom, for free if you do all 10 missions. Now, each stage or mission has different requirements. You will be able to grind just the base XP, which is, as you can see on the first one, just 3,000 base. Remember, this is base XP, not your total XP, however much you get in the game just on its own. A good way to see how much base XP you gain on average is to go to your service record and then go down to here and you'll see your average base XP. As you can see, mine is 878, although that is overall, so maybe go to something like What Life, which will actually tell you your average experience recently. But as you can see, there is obviously the base XP route, or you could complete a mission for mastery. Now, this is where the better players will be able to complete this a little bit faster, because as you can see, earn a high caliber award, and this is for vehicles between tier 9 and tier 10, and this is exactly the same for every single one. You have the base one, which is obviously the base XP. This is for vehicles between 6 and 10, and this is between 9 and 10. So if you are a better player, you should be able to go through this a little bit faster, although as it goes on and it gets a little bit harder to grind, it also then becomes like this type of mission for mastery where be the top player on damage caused 40 times. Well, if you get that, you're probably going to be close to getting that 53,000 base XP anyway. But as you can also see, each stage that you complete, you will gain a discount. As you see, first stage is 10%, the next one is 20, so on and so forth, all the way up to then obviously the 90%, and then if you complete the 10th stage, you'll get the tank for free. So depending on where you end up at the end of it, you will then have a nice hefty discount if you did want to just go and purchase the tank. And this whole mission marathon lasts 10 days. So on average, you're going to have to be completing one stage a day. But bear in mind, you should be able to go through quite a few of these stages within one day, probably. The total amount of base XP that you are going to need is 261,000 if you do every single one for the 10 stages, which you can then divide by however much you get average base XP and work out roughly how many games it's going to take you, if you were to do that. Remember though, if you do the mastery missions, that will then be substantially reduced. So my recent average XP is actually just over 1,000. So this is going to take me roughly 250 games-ish. I mean, I can obviously do some of these missions for mastery early on and just skip a lot of these. Like, for example, I think that I'll do this one probably before I get 3,000 base XP. If not, it's only 3,000 base XP. For the second stage, become top player on damage done 2 times. Remember, this isn't a win requirement, so as long as you are top on damage, you get one of these games done instantly, and you skip 5,000 base XP. This one's a little bit interesting because if you don't get above that 850, then you're just going to count it to this, so probably going to be slightly similar in regards to how long this will take you. However, if you do need the base XP, for example, like this one, make sure you play tier 9 because tier 9 will earn more base XP than tier 10 unless you have an exceptional game. Finish the battle as the top player on both teams by damage caused 4 times and cause at least 3,000 damage in each battle. This I can probably do, although it really depends on who you get on the enemy team because, you know, this one is a little bit more RNG based. If you get like constant 15-5s and you're on the winning team, then chances are that yes, you'll probably be top on damage. But if you do get a few close games, you're probably not going to do this 4 times in a row unless you get quite lucky. 4,000 damage and win the battle 8 times. Again, this one I can probably do before I get the base XP. That shouldn't be too much of an issue. Now, be the top player on your team by damage caused 18 times. This one, or 32,000 base, it probably is just better to do the base XP because 18 times is a lot of games. If you average 1,000 base XP, you're going to be pretty close, just over halfway there to the 32,000. And that's if you come top. If you then come second, that game doesn't count. So you're probably going to end up doing 32,000 XP before this mission is actually done. You could get lucky and get it done before, but that's this one's a little bit dodgy, I think. High caliber 6 times, this one is more doable than 33,000 base XP. Finish the battle as a top player on both teams by damage caused 14 times and cause at least 3,500 of damage in each battle. I can probably do it, however, again, it's top damage on both sides. So 35,000 though, that's quite a bit. That's quite a big chunk. So probably it would be better to do that if you can. And then for stage 9, be the top player on your team by damage caused 30 times. I mean, if I'm the top player on damage caused 30 times, that obviously includes when we lose. But like 43,000, I'm going to be pretty close to that if I do end up winning more times than I lose. So again, base XP is probably just the better way of doing it. And then number 10, we've already seen, where it's 53,000 base XP, which is a lot to get done, or do top by damage caused 40 times. But I am very, very happy that this has made a return, because I like these mission marathons. You could get the tank for free just by playing the game. And remember, the best way of doing these mission marathons is not to bother looking at the mission that you're doing. Just play the game, and eventually you'll get them done. You just play the game, do enough base XP, and be happy, and you'll get a decent discount. If not, get the tank. And remember, this is not just the Grom that you get at the end. Per stage, yes, you'll get some discount, but you'll also get some other rewards. A day of premium for completing the first stage. So if you are free to play and you want a day of premium, do the first stage, you get a day of premium, you can then play your game. And with all of these other stages, you will gain better rewards, or at least nicer rewards, as you keep going up. Now, when speaking about the Grom, I have not had access to this tank, so I don't really know how it plays at all. However, this is your typical Polish tank destroyer, where it will lose damage over distance, and up to 50 meters you have that very big 800 alpha, but then past that it then starts to drop off. And if you go all the way up to 720 meters like my land tested, you get about 69 damage. But that's not going to stop people from camping at the back. Triangle no move, remember. Triangle stay. But it does look good. It has a very, very nice gun. It has very, very good standard pen, very, very good premium pen, and has 80 HE pen, which means that at distance you won't lose that damage as well. You'll still have that 800 HE, and that can be very, very annoying to light tanks, especially with that 80 penetration. 1.4k hit points, which is not amazing. I don't know if that is using with the hardening. Yes, it is. They shouldn't really put this in, to be fair with you. They should actually get rid of that, because that is not the stats that comes with the tank. So I don't know why they, when you hover over it, it shows that. But yeah, 1,300 hit points base, and then 1,400, although you can put it in the correct slot and you'll gain more. So 1,450 or something like that, but which isn't that much. If you think about it, a Projector 46 gets very, very similar hit points. So, you know, if you're going to be brawling with this tank, that's 3 shots and then you probably might be dead. It's fast enough, it doesn't have a very good reverse speed, and the view range is absolutely diabolical. But it has very, very good DPM as long as you are within 50 meters, otherwise that goes down rapidly. And dispersion is, I would say, fine considering you're brawling. So there you go. Starting tomorrow, that is what you can do in World of Tanks. Last 10 days, so on October the 13th, that will be your final day to be able to do it. Thank you very much for watching. Let me know your thoughts down below, and I'll see you all in the next one.